for the city of Antioch, and as you know, I've called this press conference today to give an update in regards to the Angelo Quinto case. On December 23rd of 2020 at approximately 11:10 p.m., Antioch Dispatch received a call from a woman screaming the address to an unknown disturbance in the 1900 block of Crestwood Drive in Antioch. And right now I'm going to play the 911 call we received at that moment. It was at that time that our dispatcher called the number back to get additional information. And here is that call.
Hello? Why are you screaming? It's 911. God, my brother's being aggressive. We just need him. Your brother what? Being aggressive. Okay, how old is your brother? 30. Okay, and what is he doing that's aggressive? It's hurting my mom, please. How is it hurting? Listen, I'm not driving there. How is he hurting your mom? He's restraining her. We have to do it. Okay, listen. I'm sending the police when someone will talk to me. Can you tell me your brother's name? What? What is your brother's name? Angelo Quinto. Angelo what? Quinto. Is it Q-U-I-N-T-O? Okay, does he have... Listen, I already told you the police are already on the way. Does he have access to any weapons? I have a hammer. And he has access to the kitchen. So you armed yourself with a hammer? He's grabbing for it. I took it. Okay, where's the hammer now? I'm hoping it everywhere in the room. Walking the door and he's still... He's really hurt. Okay, does he have any other weapons in the room that he's out with his mom? He's not immediately back in the Okay, is it just the three of you in the house? Yes. Okay, do you know if he takes any drugs? Yes. What kind of drugs does he take? She's yelling for help. What do we do? Okay, the police are coming. They're coming. Can you open the door and go wait outside to show the officers where he's at? Yeah. Okay, they're coming. They're less than a tenth of a mile away. Do you know your brother's birthday? I don't remember right now. March. You know what? March. Do you think it's March 10th? Did he just drink something or take something tonight to make it like this? Or? I can't breathe. Stop it. Stop. Is he strangling her? No, he's strangling her. No. Okay. No, I just want to... Okay. Oh, listen. Go open the door. Listen, open the door because I have officers turning on their... so they can see you. Can you go open the door? Please. Listen, they're coming. I have 4 officers coming. He's walking very slowly over here. He's what? Can you open the door? The door's open. Do you see the officers? Yes, he's coming. Okay, go talk. The officer's going to help you. Thank you. Sorry. You're welcome. It's okay. It's okay. It happens. It's okay. Okay, are they with your mom and your brother? Yes. Okay. Okay. You're welcome. It's okay. Thanks.
After that call, officers were dispatched to the scene, and now we're going to play the recording of the initial radio traffic that went to our officers, Officer Nicholas Shipeloff, Arturo Becerra, James Perkinson, and Daniel Hopwood.
I'm at a party one. Are you guys available, sir?
Information was 6
Copy that. 2nd, unknown problem. Alright, we have a female on the line just screaming the address and hung up. We're trying to call back to get further. C2Y2, they're telling us now on callback that the brother is in his 30s and is aggressive, hurting their mom. Then Angelo Quinto.
C2, if you have enough, can you run them out?
If RP's armed himself with a hammer, says that the mother took it away from the brother. RP saying that she can hear the brother inside hurting their mom. He is known to use drugs.
Do you want to show them up? Give them my thing.
Okay. They're saying now the mother is being strangled by the subject. She didn't have a date of birth since he was born in March. If the one I found is a match, he's 26 out of Berkeley.
Y2, we're ready to start. No, PRP.
Y297 with ERP.
Officers Becerra and Perkinson arrived on scene at approximately 11:12 p.m. to find Angelo Quinto being actively restrained by his mother on a bedroom floor of the house. The officers requested Angelo's mother to get off of him so they could detain him in handcuffs. According to the results of a preliminary investigation, at one point during the handcuffing, an officer did briefly, for a few seconds, have a knee across the portion of Angelo's shoulder blade, which is a common control technique taught at California post-approved police academies for prone handcuffing. At no point did any officer use a knee or other body part to gain leverage or apply pressure to Angelo's head, neck, or throat, which is outside of our policy and training. One of the officers then repositioned to control Angelo's legs as his legs were actively thrashing around. At that time, the other officer on scene spoke to Angelo's mother to determine his medical history. Officers determined Angelo was suffering a mental health crisis and summoned an ambulance at approximately 11:16 p.m. Based on the nature of the call, 2 other APD officers arrived on scene at that time. Paramedics arrived on scene at approximately 11:23 p.m. As the medics entered the room, officers recognized that Angelo had become unresponsive and was potentially experiencing a medical emergency. Angelo was immediately unhandcuffed, and medics began evaluating him and rendering medical aid. While CPR was in progress, officers notified an APD supervisor via radio and the situation at approximately 11:29 p.m. Angelo was transported to an area hospital at approximately 11:30. To ensure transparency, impartiality, and public confidence in the investigatory process, and out of an abundance of caution, the law enforcement involved fatal incident protocol investigation was initiated, whereby the Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office led an investigation into this incident. Ultimately, Angelo was admitted into the intensive care unit of the hospital, where he remained in their care for approximately 3 days before we were informed of his unfortunate passing. I've been in contact with the coroner's office, and the following 4 points have been jointly approved by multiple pathologists related to their findings thus far. First, although Angelo had injuries consistent with a struggle with his family and law enforcement, none of the injuries appeared to be fatal. 2, there were no fractures of the skull, torso, or extremities. 3, a full examination of the neck revealed there was no evidence of strangulation or crushed airway. And 4, they are currently expanding toxicology testing because they were aware of reported past drug use. As you may already be aware, in Contra Costa County, anytime there is a death related to law enforcement, there is a coroner's inquest. This is a public hearing in which the facts and circumstances of the incident are provided by the officers and specific eyewitnesses. Additionally, this is the venue for the medical examiner to provide insight into the medical cause and manner of death. That hearing has yet to be scheduled. Additionally and separately, this case will also undergo an independent third-party administrative investigation to determine if there were any violation of departmental policies. And on behalf of myself and the men and women of the Antioch Police Department, I would like to express our deepest condolences to the Quinto family for their devastating loss. That is my statement. I have time for a few questions.
Chief, have you been in touch, Jody Hernandez, have you been in touch with the family prior to this? Did you prepare them for this? Because obviously this is quite emotional, I'm sure, for them.
No, they're represented by an attorney, and I have not been in contact with them.
Is the DA conducting an investigation, and has the DA come up with any findings, and are your findings in alignment with what they've discovered?
All investigations are still open.
In the video that the family took at the house, the officers are mentioning administering Narcan. Was Narcan administered to Angelo?
I don't know the answer to that.
I got to follow up. The toxicology reports or anything like that, there was drugs or no drugs in the system, alcohol, anything come back?
That will be part of the coroner's report, and when they have the final report, those answers will be given.
And will I understand the family's waiting for the blood and urine samples to be released so they could do their own toxicology sample testing. Is there any word on what's the hang up of releasing the samples to the family?
I don't have any answers to that.
Chief, one last question
Yes, sir.
from me from NBC Bay Area. Well, what's your position at this point on officers in the future going forward now wearing body cameras on vehicles on their uniforms?
I am a huge proponent of body-worn cameras. I have been for years. I'm excited that the City Council has asked us to bring forward a body camera proposal, and that will be brought forth in the next council meeting next week.
Chief, the way the family describes it, that by the time the police got there, he was calm. He was, the mom says she was giving him a bear hug, and that, in their opinion, force was not needed. He was not, apparently you guys restrained him, and the family saying, hey, this was just too much. At this point, he was already calm. They've also said that it would have been great if a mental health team or mental health professionals could have been called in. And I know you guys have gone through some training. Your thoughts on all of that?
I would just refer back to the timeline that I gave you as well as the recording, but I'm not going to comment on the family's comments at this time.
One last one. Who did you say was doing the third-party investigation? Is that tied to the DA, or is that outside the police, the DA and everybody, or does that still have a connection?
No, that'll be outside the police department and the district attorney's office.
Is there a name of the organization or the?
No, that's not public yet.
And
All right.
Chief, just quickly, your thoughts on getting a mental health crisis team? I know that's one of the proposals the city has been looking at.
I look forward to learning more about it, and I know that they've been successful in other areas, and any additional resources we have to help with people exhibiting signs of mental distress would be welcomed.
Hey T, at the last press conference you and the mayor had a disagreement on when the council was notified. Is there any records, emails, phone calls of when your staff reached out to the council?
I can tell you that I spoke to the mayor on December 31st about this, but
What about
I believe
your staff?
there are additional records coming.
What about your staff?
I can only speak for myself right now. All right. Thank
Is
you very much.
there any more information on the killing on Tuesday of the officers involved in that?